corsages. There are so many different types of corsages and different types of wiring techniques. The one I'm going to show you here would be beautiful for springtime if you're having a baby shower, a bridal shower, anniversary. Let's talk about the things that you're going to need to make a simple one flower corsage. First and foremost, you're going to have some greenery, filler, the focal flower. I am using here 3 different types of filler flowers, 1 focal flower, and 1 type of greenery. You can mix and match to your choosing, but I just wanted to let you know what I am doing. I'm using a carnation that is a bicolor carnation. It's beautiful and just absolutely gorgeous. You're also going to need floral tape, some ribbon for the bow, some good ribbon shears. I think that is really important, and the wire. And as we start, I want you to learn the first step, which is the type of wiring technique I'm going to use, which is called a hairpin technique. There are different wiring techniques, but flowers that have calyxes that are large like this is the wire type of choice style, if you will. It's called hairpin. So you put it in the calyx of the carnation, which is, it's not hard to press it in. I suggest holding the wire close to the calyx so it goes in easily and doesn't bend. Then what you're going to do is take your floral tape and hide your mechanics. That is what your floral tape is for, hiding all of the workmanship underneath. You're going to pull the tape really tight. Do not turn the tape, turn the flower. As you can see here, I'm pulling and turning the flower. The tape is not actually moving. It's almost like my hand is almost like I guess you'd say a loom, if you will, or like a Beauty and the Beast, a loom, I believe, where she pricks her finger in the story. So next, you're going to take and put your filler flower. You're going to have a back, so to speak, what goes against the chest of the person. So you're going to have your filler flower and your greenery higher in the back, lower in the front, having it circle the carnation in this case. It could be a rose, a lisianthus, gladiola even, if you're going to make a glamelia flower corsage. So you're going to take your pieces and lay it snugly against the flower, and then make sure that your stems, as you tape them, you don't tape them all the way down until you have taken off some of the bulk. And what do I mean by bulk? The bulk is what would build up on the stem if you were to keep taping each layer in without removing some of the bottom stems, like from the wax flower, the caspia I'm going to be using, the baby's breath, because no one wants a stem that's against their chest that's really big and bulky. It doesn't look right. So as again, you see here, I'm making sure it's secure. I'm taping in the wax flower, and then I have sea lavender, this white. It's called caspia or sea lavender. That's the most common names. You'll also hear it called limonium, or even statice. You'll even hear that term thrown out for it, but statice that most people think of is purple, and it's a larger bloom, and it has like a dry texture. Actually, this would dry really beautifully. The white sea lavender that you see here, if you wanted to keep this as a little keepsake afterwards, you could hang it upside down and it would dry quite nicely. So I am adding little accents of this sea lavender all around, watching for my stems at the bottom, pulling the tape, twirling the flower. Again, not the tape. I'm not twirling the tape. I want a nice, clean, smooth, long stem here. So I'm just removing, almost giving a haircut to the stems before I continue to tape in to cover my mechanics. Again, that's very important. Professional designers always need to make sure that their mechanics are covered. This last bit, I'm just putting in a little purpley baby's breath.
I'm thinking of springtime when I'm making this. This would be fabulous if you were having a baby shower or even a wedding, an anniversary, a birthday. How fun would this be for a birthday? Somebody special, maybe like, my mom's going to be 92 this year. Having a really special boutonniere that she could wear out to dinner. So these are things that, you think about when you're planning a party, but you could actually create it yourself if you are a really great DIYer, or if you are maybe a flower designer or somebody who wants to be a flower designer and doesn't know where to start. Having the technique of wiring and taping is essential. We use this technique for making flower crowns, for adding layers into a garland, for doing some teardrops, for weddings. There's all sorts of applications for wiring and taping like I'm showing here. This is just the beginning. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding a little silver dollar eucalyptus. You could use any greenery you wanted. If it was a holiday time like Christmas, you could add in white pine, some holly. But, you just have to think about what the colors are that you want to have in there. This is sort of like a muted sage green, and I just really like the way it looks. And for many of my weddings, the brides want this. Silver dollar eucalyptus, willow eucalyptus, that seeded eucalyptus, spiral eucalyptus. It looks fabulous. It's very elegant. It flows nice when you're doing a piece of work. It really frames a piece lovely. Now, this is a very substantial one flower corsage. This would not be for a small individual. I would highly recommend this go like on a jacket. Or you could have a wristlet. You could attach this to a wristlet and have a little accent that somebody carries on their wrist. You could have options. You could put on a wristlet piece, and then afterwards, if they didn't want it, you could just pin it back and put it on their jacket or their dress or their shirt. So now let's talk about the stem. You could take ribbon like this and cover the stem. I just did a wedding, and they wanted for the groom's boutonniere and all the boutonnieres, the stems covered in a nice creamy neutral color. But that is not always the case of what you should or should not do. It's really a preference. So in this case, it's going to be a boutonniere, not a boutonniere. It's going to be a corsage because I'm adding a bow to it. You may see in weddings nowadays where they leave I call it the naked stems. People will have the stems not covered in tape or not covered in ribbon, and it'll almost have more of a boho feel, a more organic look, and then they'll wrap a little bit of jute around it. For this particular piece, I'm not going to wrap anything. I'm just going to show you, if you were a beginner designer and you just wanted to have a pretty little bow, have a bow that is to scale, that the outside perimeter of it is really kind of at the same size or a little smaller than the corsage base itself. And then what you'll do is you'll adhere it. Never, ever, ever, this is a major tip, never, ever, ever twirl your wire around your stems of your corsage base from a bow or anything else for that matter, because what happens is when you go to add ribbon, you go to add anything else, it makes it A, more bulkier, and B, you're seeing through the taping or the wire, the ribbon, the wire that you have now spiraled around the base of the stems of the corsage. So that's a pro tip. You have to remember, keep clean lines, keep clean wires. Everything needs to be precise. If you want to be a professional, or if you're not a professional and you want to make it look like you're a professional, you have to remember attention to detail. Speaking of attention to detail, what I'm doing here, I'm making what I call a dragon's tongue. So the tails themselves are going to have two forks. They're going to have, so you bend them and you cut with the scissors on an angle from the open side up, and it makes these very tailored, very professional looking tails. It's just that little added touch where when people see your beautiful work, they'll know that it was not done by an amateur. I promise you follow these steps, everything is going to be beautiful for your special event. If you are just beginning doing this, I highly recommend practicing. Take your corsage or your rose stem that you've broken off of your head and start practicing taping. Start practicing twirling, and you'll be able to do one just like this. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and leave comments below and questions. Bye for now.